Thanks, Ian. Well, a big grid to get through, so let's go straight in and look at the lineup. This grid based on yesterday's results. So it was reigning champion Ian Thompson, his new Lotus Cortina, who will start from pole. Alan Greenall alongside him in the big Ford Falcon. Row 2, Grant Williams, the Welshman, in his Jaguar Mark II. Very famous Jaguar pilot is Grant, alongside Gary Townsend in his Lotus Cortina. Led the initial start in yesterday's race, but got penalised for jumping the start. Row 3, Barry Syme, the Scotsman, in his famous Mini, alongside James Ibbotson in his former title-winning Hillman Imp. Row 4, Kevin Swan in a Ford Anglia, alongside Brendan Rooney with his Hillman Imp. Completing the top 10, Mike Davies in his Mini, Adrian Oliver in an Imp. Row 6, we have Bob Bullen in a Ford Anglia, Martin Armstrong in a Mini, Michael Loveland in row 7 with his Imp, and it should have been Mark Uka's Mini on the outside. Not sure he's there, though. Row 8, Luke Wilson's Austin A40, we just heard from him. Ed Carter's Imp alongside. Row 9, Lee Williams in another Jaguar, alongside Brian Bedford. He's in an Austin A40. Top 20 completed by Jeremy Dias in his Singer Chamois, a badge-engineered Hillman Imp, alongside another Imp out of David Ellis. So many Hillman Imps in the championship this year, fabulous to see. On the 11th row, Jake Swan with his Ford Anglia. He pulled into the pits on the last lap of yesterday's race. Starts alongside Steve Platts with another Singer Chamois. James Burrows will be next. He failed to get off the grid in the restart of yesterday's race. And then we got the cars that had problems yesterday. Michael Sheraton's Ford Anglia should be there, but I don't think he is, unfortunately. Piers Granger's Mustang, watch for him coming through the field. Problems in yesterday's race. Keith Wright's Morris Minor alongside him. Then Ed Gibbs, who had an off at Druids yesterday. Pat Keneally's Lotus Cortina, if he's there. Billy Keneally, his son, we know he's not there. His Anglia broke down in qualifying yesterday. Tim Dodwell's there, though he was absent yesterday, but he joins us today in his road-going Mini. And at the back, the car that Piers Tyne raced yesterday, Aaron Smith, the former Mini Miglia champion. Watch for him coming through from the back in the maroon Mini. He's been racing Minis for many years, and he's very quick indeed. Ian Thompson in the Mike and Andrew Jordan prepared Lotus Cortina on pole. He raced an Alan Mann Racing replica last season, now in this lovely looking grey Lotus Cortina alongside Alan Greenall, competed in the British Saloon Car Championship in a Golf in the early 80s. Alongside in the Falcon. He said that car was jumping out of second gear yesterday, and he lost it going through the Graham Hill Bend section, which is why it cost him the win. Grant Williams in the Jag next, then Gary Townsend. The green flag waves at the back, and this wonderful grid of 60s and late 50s machinery about to get underway. Piers Grange, watch for the Mustang from the back. He's already got his headlights on, look. Revs are up, and away we go. And one of the Imps hasn't got away. Who's that that's stalled it? Look out, Keith Wright just misses him. Unlucky 13 there for Adrian Oliver. He gets it fired up now, and he is away down towards Paddock Hill Bend. But it's the big Falcon, the V8 powering Alan Greenall into the lead. Hopefully he's cured that gear change problem from yesterday. Grant Williams up into second. Ian Thompson's made a bad start. He's back into around 6th position. Gary Townsend up there around the outside. We saw him in his Civic earlier on. Let's see what he can do in a Cortina. Well, what he can do is try and take the lead from Alan Greenall, and he's done it. Great first couple of corners from Gary Townsend. Grant Williams third. James Ibbotson's up to 4th. And look at Jake Swan. That's how you drive a Ford Anglia. He's thrashing that machine around. Fired up after problems yesterday. Pat Keneally's back out in his Cortina. He failed to finish yesterday's race. Right, Jake Swan came flying down the inside there. That was spectacular. We got a spinner. Lee Williams in the red Jaguar Mark I there has spun it. Let's hope he can get that going again. He doesn't want to stop there. We could have a safety car if he doesn't move away. Okay, completing the first lap then. Wasn't time to draw breath during that opening lap. There is Aaron Smith, the 121. He's already coming up well from the back. He's gained 20 places. He's up to 9th as, oh goodness me, Gary Townsend nearly lost it there coming out of paddock. He nearly went into the gravel as Grant Williams, that's how Grant Williams drives a Jag, sideways. But two sideways to keep Ian Thompson behind him. Thompson's made up about 4 places through Druids alone there. This is crazy stuff. You wouldn't believe these cars are priceless 50s and 60s machines. They're throwing them around like go-karts. Townsend leads, Thompson up to 2nd, Greenall is 3rd, Williams is now 4th. Look at Barry Syme throwing that Mini around. That's how Nick Swift would drive one. Oh, this is fabulous. Behind him is Aaron Smith. He's absolutely charged through the pack in the 121. He wasn't there yesterday, sharing the car with Piers Tin this weekend, the former McLaren COO. Aaron Smith, he is very, very quick in a mini, and he's just usurped Barry Syme of the class lead there. Behind them is James Ibbotson. And then we've got one of the anglers, that's Kevin Swan, father of Jake. That's an incredible first couple of laps. Here comes Aaron Smith, straight round the outside of Grant Williams. That mini could win this outright. I reckon he could win this outright, Aaron Smith here. He's going for the about 4 times as big Falcon ahead of him. I'm losing my thread here completely. 2 Lotus Cortinas up front, then it's the Ford Falcon. Aaron Smith, who started last on the grid, having missed yesterday's race because he's sharing the car. Then we've got the Jaguar of Grant Williams. A couple of the Anglias next. There's Jake Swan chasing Mike Davies in the Mini. Driving in both races this weekend. Normally his brother John takes over the car for the second race, but Ian Thompson, after a poor start, slicing past everybody into Druids for the second time. He's done the fastest lap, 57.826, and he's closing on race leader Gary Townsend. Greenall is third, then Aaron Smith in the Mini in 4th position. Come through Druids, just my first real chance to pause for breath during this race. This is absolutely brilliant. Through Graham Hill Bend. Aaron Smith nearly into the boot there, literally, of the Falcon. Note the retro scale extra stickers on these cars as well. I see headlights further back. That will be Piers Grange in the Mustang. He went out with engine trouble yesterday, as up the inside, Aaron Smith up to 3rd now on 3 wheels in his Mini. He really is one of the fastest men in a Mini anywhere. But onto a straight, the power of the V8 tells, and look at the way that Alan Greenall pulls past Aaron Smith. Oh, this is just brilliant. Showing why this is one of my favourite racing championships anywhere. Now, first back marker coming up, so the Cortina's going to have to be careful here. It's Tim Dodwell, the veteran in his Mini, and when I say veteran, he's owned this Mini since it was new in the mid-60s. Been competing in various events with it, and he drives it on the road to every event as well. He's a real unsung hero, is Tim. Aaron Smith is dancing that Mini round. There's Tim Dodwell, just keeps out of the way. Meanwhile, Gary Townsend's under fire from Ian Thompson. He wants a double victory. They're coming up on Keith Wright's Morris Minor. They're side by side. Hopefully Keith's seen them coming, and Gary Townsend got boxed in there behind the Morris Minor, and Ian Thompson's been able to take the lead. And now the Mini is upon them. Here comes Aaron Smith. Here comes Alan Greenall fighting back. Absolutely incredible. These 4 covered by 2 seconds. And further back, Grant Williams is still 5th in the Jaguar, ahead of Barry Syme in his Mini. Aaron Smith was performing similar heroics in a Mini at the members' meeting at Goodwood last weekend. And he's on the tail of Gary Townsend now. Cortinas have got their lights on to warn the back markers they're coming. There's Piers Grange in the background. I think he's into the top 10 now. Yeah, he's up to 9th in the Mustang. Gary Townsend, I'm not sure he's seen that Aaron Smith is there. A bit low in his mirror maybe, but up the inside, I think he knows he's there now. Appears next to Gary's driver's door. Excuse me, says Aaron Smith. I don't think so, says Gary Townsend. I'm going to hold 2nd place. The power of the Cortina telling over the Mini. They come towards Druids once again, and Townsend moves to cover. Smith goes to the outside. He's up around the outside of him, but Druids surely not quite. Very close to each other indeed there. Greenall still 4th in the Ford Falcon. It's Williams, Syme, James Ibbotson still. Oh, we've got a car stopped on Cooper Straight. It's Lee Williams in the Jaguar. If he stays there, that'll be a safety car, definitely. He got going again after his spin on the first lap, but if he stopped there on the Cooper Straight, then they'll have to bring out the safety car. Here comes Piers Grange. There's the Ford Mustang. He's already scored 2 wins this weekend in his Escorts. He was in contention for a podium yesterday when the Mustang developed a problem and he had to pit. Started from towards the back in today's race, and that big Ford Mustang now charging up alongside James Ibbotson in the leading Hillman Imp. Hopefully Lee Williams has been able to get going again and the race will be able to continue. Towards Druids come the leaders. There's Greenall. Now what about the next group? Grant Williams ahead of Piers Grange. He's up to 6 now. He's got ahead of Barry Symes Mini, the Scotsman. Behind Ibbotson is Bob Bullen's Ford Anglia and Jake Swan rounding out the top 10. In the black Ford Anglia, just catch a glimpse of them there coming down the hill. Grange up the inside, White alongside Grant Williams there. Wales, England and Scotland all in a line there. Now the Mustang's going to get through surely at Surtees. Through he goes. Now getting after our 4 leaders. Barry Syme buzzing up onto the back of the Jaguar as well. We've lost Pat Keneally somewhere, I can tell you, the Lotus Cortina not having a happy season, sadly. Problems at Donington as well. It's not been a good season for the whole Keneally family because Billy's yet to race this year both times this season. His Anglia's let him down in qualifying. Speaking of Anglias, here comes Bob Bullen. Racing his Escort this weekend in pre-83 as well. And here comes Jake Swan, headlights aflare. Up on the outside, James Ibbotson in his former title-winning Hillman Imp holding the inside. Barry Syme cuts ahead. He's just gone round the outside of the Jag and through it. Brilliant from Barry. Here's our second place battle. They've lapped Tim Dodwell a second time. Tim just enjoying himself out there in his Mini. And now here comes Aaron Smith trying to go for second place. Gary Townsend uses the extra power of the Cortina. The man from Rugby holds second. Down into Paddock Hill Bend they go. Aaron Smith trying to fight back the local man from Aylesford here in Kent. Ian Thompson continues to lead, looking for his double as he tries to retain the title this year. The racing has been of truly wonderful quality. There's still 5.5 minutes of this race to go as Aaron Smith once again four-wheel drifts the Mini through Graham Hill Bend. There's one of the Imps pulled over. That's the number 6 car, I think, of Ed Carter out of the race. The yellow flags on the Cooper Straight. Alan Greenall's still going, but he's dropped back in the Falcon now. Big cars like that, they have a habit of wearing out brakes and tyres very quickly, and of course he had that gear change problem yesterday. Across the line goes the second place battle. 2 seconds behind Ian Thompson now, lapping, I think that's Jeremy Dias' Imp there. Well, the A40's Brian Bedford as well. Moves to the inside. Take a quick look at the class leaders. Class F for Lotus Cortinas is led by Thompson. Class C is the Minis and Anglias. That's led by Aaron Smith. Class A for the bigger cars by Greenall. Basically the American V8s and the Jaguars in Class A. Class E is the Hillman Imps. That's led by James Ibbotson. And Class D by Luke Wilson's Austin A40. That's the A40s and the Morris Minors. Beautifully done there by Jake Swan down the inside of Graham Hill Bend. He's taken Grant Williams, but the Jaguar's extra power tells, and he goes back through on the run down Cooper Straights. Jake Swan, the way he handles that Anglia, it belies his young years, racing alongside his father Kev. Going round the outside of Keith Wright's Morris Minor. You normally see him in a Lotus Cortina, but I assume he's had problems with that, and he's switched back to the Morris. Closing on Barry Syme again as well in his famous Scottish Blue Mini. This is the battle for 6th overall. Piers Grange has got through this lot and is in P5 ahead of them. Now, Piers Grange, is he going to be within range for a Class A win here? He's just under 3 seconds behind, and again Jake Swan is attacking the Jaguar into Graham Hill Bend. He's done it again. Locks his front wheel, he always does there. But again, the Jag will then simply use its extra power pull back ahead. The theme of these races, the more powerful Jaguars, Cortinas and the American cars breeze ahead down the straights, and the smaller cars zap them into the corners. Chief among the giant killers used to be James Ibbotson. He's a little further back in the order now in the Imp. There he is, just behind this lot. Here comes Bob Bullen, long-time classic Ford racer, seen him in Anglias and Lotus Cortinas and Escorts for many years. He'll be out in his Mark 1 Escort later on today. 2 minutes 40 seconds to go. There's a lock up there from Gary Townsend. That could allow Aaron Smith to come through. Not quite. That's Graham Hillbend. He's still harrying the Cortina. Gary Townsend, who's raced Mazda MX-5s for a few seasons. Before that, he was a short ovaler, raced Formula One stock cars. Quite a contrast here today, racing his Cortina and his Honda Civic. The inside, that's Aaron Smith going for second place. Has he got him this time? He's alongside, but the Cortina will just use its extra power again. Yep, same story as they come onto the Brabham Straight. 2 minutes to go. They're 4 seconds behind Ian Thompson now. There he is. As they lap Tim Dodwell once again. Tim may be in his twilight years, but he still loves his racing. The wheel of his classic Mini, the devotee of the Road Saloon Championship for many years, when you had to drive your car on the road to the circuit from the regulations. Did that with a VW Scirocco, among other things as well. Background there, Piers Grange getting the Mustang sideways as he tries to catch Alan Greenall. Still, Aaron Smith trying every which way to get past Gary Townsend. He just can't do it. Shows how well sorted these two Cortinas are. The traditional Cortina livery on Gary Townsend's car, the grey of the Andrew Jordan prepared machine. Of course, Andrew Jordan, a former British touring car champion back in 2013. Prepares historic cars these days, along with his father Mike, at their base near Lichfield in Staffordshire. Great squealing on some of these cars. They're really working hard. There's Grange from the back up to 5th. It's quite a gap back to the battle for 6th, which is headed by Williams. Ahead of... have we lost Barry Syme? The Mini hasn't come through, have we? I think we've lost Barry. Bob Bullen locks up at Druids. You can see how hard they're working these cars. But we've lost Barry Syme, unfortunately. That's given... well, Aaron Smith was leading the category for Minis and Anglias, so up to second now he's Bullen, battling with Swan. That's for second in class. We're not too sure where Barry has gone. He hasn't come through on that last lap, unfortunately, so I think he's out of the race. Let's have a look down the time tree. No, he's come through now. He's 14th, so he must have had a spin somewhere, Barry Syme. There's James Ibbotson getting involved with the Anglias. Meantime, the clock is down to 0. The leader is at Druids, so we're on the last lap now. Meanwhile, Aaron Smith has finally got the Mini past Gary Townsend. He's finally got past the Cortina. He's been trying all race long, ever since he's rocking through from the back. They lap Keith Wright. They both slide their way through. Oh, look out. I thought the Mount Morris Minor was going to drift into the path of Gary Townsend there. Well, what an incredible race from the Everard's 366 classic and historic touring cars. And despite making a slow start, reigning champion fought back, and it's going to be a double win for Ian Thompson. The wheel of his Jordan-prepared Cortina comes across the line to take the checkered flag, well clear in the end of his pursuers, and it's going to be Aaron Smith last on the grid, finishes second. Gary Townsend in third, Alan Greenall takes 4th, Grange 5th from the back, and then the battle for 6th coming through. Who's going to be 6th? It's going to be Grant Williams in the Jaguar, Jake Swan 7th towards the back, then Bob Bullen, James Ibbotson in 9th, and rounding out the top 10 will be Kevin Swan in his Anglia. Wow, what a brilliant race. There's Barry Syme, who's going through Surtees now, so he must have had a spin out of our sight somewhere. That's all, there's a problem with the Mini. Yes, in fact, he's dropped further back on that previous lap as well, so whether there's an issue with the Mini. But the win goes to Ian Thompson. We'll take you through the class winners in a moment. Yeah, quite slow across the line there, so it wasn't a spin, it was something amiss with Barry Syme's car, unfortunately. And he ends up down in 21st place. Ian Thompson takes the win in the Cortina. The driver of the race for me, Aaron Smith, last on the grid to finish second in his Mini and winning Class C as well. Gary Townsend completes the podium. Then came the 3 Class A cars, Alan Greenall, Piers Grange and Grant Williams. Jake Swan, a great drive by him through in the Anglia as well, throwing that car around to finish ahead of Bob Bullen. James Ibbotson takes Class E in his Imp. And then Kevin Swan, Mike Davies, Ed Gibbs, Mark Uka, Brendan Rooney. 14th, second in Class E. Third in that class was Steve Platts. Further back in the order, Luke Wilson won Class D. And Class G, the guest class, went to Lee Williams in the Jaguar. Just a couple of retirements there. We lost the Imp of Ed Carter and Pat Keneally's Lotus Cortina. Let's see what the drivers thought of that one if they're in Parc Ferme.
Yeah, here we are in the pit lane, everybody. We've got to come and talk to Aaron Smith down here from dead last on the grid, all the way up to second place. Maybe just a couple of more laps, but a perfect weekend for Ian Thompson. The pair of wins. There's a reason there's a #1 on that Lotus Cortina. But Aaron Smith, I knew you'd be smiling when you got plumb last to second.
I know. I was hoping for a good first lap, and that is definitely what I had there.
Are you a little bit frustrated? You ain't got 5 more minutes.
I know. What could have been, I could have caught him, I reckon, but I was just... There was a cross-channel ferry in front of me. I couldn't quite get past it.
Do you mean Alan Greenall in the Falcon as well?
He was doing a sterling job, but my word, it was hard to hang on to there. But the Mini's so nimble, and like the engine that CAD have got in it, like crikey, it goes like a missile.
Well, you got previous with Minis, haven't you? So
I know, yeah, they're my friends. So yeah, no, it's good, really good.
I'm really glad you enjoyed it, Aaron. And
Thanks
great
very
to see
much.
you again, by the way, buddy.
Cheers.
It really is. Let's grab Ian for a quick chat, shall we? Because Ian, can we just jump in? Oh, sorry, John. We'll just turn around. Perfect weekend for you. There's #1 on the car for a reason, isn't there?
Well, 2 out of 2 is the first ever in my life, so.
Oh, God, I didn't even know that. Congratulations.
Look,
Aaron,
enjoyed it.
Aaron was a bit racy, though, wasn't he?
I was almost in the barriers at the start. I don't know if you saw, but I actually went into towards the tyre barriers, off the line, had to get out. Someone squeezed me, but then I was in 5th or 6th. I just had to work my way back, so it was good. Very good. A lot of fun.
You got a big smile on your face. Congratulations.
Thank you very
great
much.
stuff
Appreciate it.
indeed. Oh, there you go. I'm just getting pumped out of the way. Right, more racing action coming up indeed. In fact, next we've got the final race of the weekend for the Miltech Civic Cup. If you liked that close racing, this is certainly going to excite you. So I'm going to hand over to your commentary team to take you through the action.